Hello, this is Stormboard coming back at you today with another video. And today we're going to talk about Invest 95L, which is off the North Carolina, South Carolina coast. Um, but before we get into all that, I want to apologize for my lack of video updates the last 2 days. I've been kind of burnt out from schoolwork and just everything else. So I haven't had any video uploads the last 2 days, but I'm back today. I'm refreshed and I'm ready to get back into weather forecasting and giving you guys some updated forecasts. We have some pretty active times coming up. We have 95L right off the North Carolina coast. We have Gordon out here, but this will be a fish storm. This will more than likely just end up turning out to sea and not being an issue for anybody except for the fish out here in the ocean. So, what we're really watching out for is this storm, potential storm or subtropical storm. And the only difference between subtropical and tropical is that subtropical, I believe, is cold core, and a tropical storm is a warm core. That's the only difference. So, this could be subtropical, could be tropical. Regardless, this is going to bring heavy rainfall and potentially some gustier winds in the North Carolina region. So we have to watch that. So giving you a look at 95L because this is designated as 95L right off the coast of North Carolina. Um, we have some convection fire and it looks pretty disorganized. Nothing really that looks really extreme right now, but we'll have to watch this because if this thing can get organized, we may get a tropical storm or a subtropical storm to form out of this, and we'll get into that though as we go forward. So now we're gonna get right into the model guidance today. We're gonna start off with the Euro model, which came out 06C, and then we're gonna get into short range models. And then towards the end of the video, I'll show you some hurricane models because they also have a little bit of a forecast for this system as well. Now that it's been designated as 95L, so we're going through time and it comes on shore as a very very weak maybe tropical depression. But look at all the rainfall. It brings a lot of heavy rainfall across the region. This could be flash flooding rainfall too as well because this is some pretty heavy rainfall over a prolonged period of time. It starts raining as early as early Monday afternoon and it doesn't really stop until possibly Wednesday morning. So that's definitely flooding rains right there. Um, and I'll make sure I pull it up before I leave here. But we're in a slight risk of excessive rainfall from about I'll say the Triangle area points east. So I live here in the Triangle area towards Raleigh area. So particularly right along that I can't think of the name, but there's a slight risk right along here. So US one corridor, yeah, that's what I want to say. US one corridor. There's about a slight risk extending as far west as the US one corridor points east. So that's something to certainly watch out for. This is a Euro model. Brings it on shores. Maybe a TD tropical depression. As far as wind gusts go, max wind gusts for the Euro model are generally in the 30-mile-an-hour range. But I gotta say though, there's definitely some factors that I think could enhance the wind gusts. One being that we have a high pressure center somewhere over here. And what this is going to do is this is going to when you have a high pressure to your north like this, and then you have a low pressure to your south, you typically get like a squeeze play type of a thing, and you'll get stronger wind gusts. So when you have all these different pressures around us, typically what ends up happening is that you'll get stronger wind gusts, typically or all around the Carolinas. Um, and that could easily be enhanced if we happen to get a stronger storm off the coast. That could easily enhance these wind gusts in that 30 to 40-mile-an-hour range. So, wind gust forecast could certainly go up. I could definitely see a higher end gust than this, probably towards that 40-mile-an-hour range, because you have that high pressure to your north, low pressure to your south. If that low pressure is a little bit stronger, we're looking at much stronger wind gusts for our day tomorrow with that rainfall, which could potentially increase that power outage potential as well. So have to watch out for that because the ground's already pretty saturated from recent rainfalls, and if we get any wind in that 40-mile-an-hour range, could certainly be looking at a much more impactful storm out of this system. Now looking at our HRRR model here, and we're going through time. This HRRR model, this is 12Z, just came out. Um, well, before I show you this, let's actually look at the hurricane models, and then I'll show you these short range models. So looking at the HWRF model, this is a hurricane model, and we're gonna go through time, and it develops this into a tropical depression, maybe very very weak tropical storm, and it brings it on shore, just north of Wilmington, North Carolina, and then pushes this in northeast North Carolina with very heavy rainfall. I also want to note that just north and west of the circulation, you have tons of heavy rainfall. So that's where most of this heavy rainfall will reside. With this system is on the north and west side of this system. I mean, on the north and northeast side of this system. So we drop down, look at the HMO model, and it brings us on shore generally as a tropical depression. Now, this model, again, I hesitated showing you guys this because we don't actually have a designated low level circulation, and until then, models are going to be all over the place, especially hurricane models. Like, for instance, this model doesn't even bring it on shore. I think that's very unlikely. Ensemble members generally, like 80% of the ensemble members show this coming on shore. So I don't think that this model really has a good idea what's actually going to happen with this. Now looking at the HAFS model, and it shows actually a decent mid-grade tropical storm coming right towards us. Again, if that happens, we're probably looking at a much more impactful system for our day tomorrow, going into parts of Tuesday. But this model shows a pretty strong tropical storm headed our way tomorrow, so that could certainly increase the risk of number one, strong damaging winds, but it could also increase that tornado threat, because there is a tornado threat along the coast. But you get even a stronger system like this, number one, you're going to increase that rainfall potential, the wind potential, and that tornado potential as well. So overall, this model is certainly on the aggressive side of things, and weirder things have happened off the coast of the Carolinas when you get in that Gulf Stream. Sometimes you can get some RI, rapid intensification, and sometimes you'll get these tropical storms that form right before they make landfall, and they'll come on shore, and they'll be quite impactful. I know some analogs is Ophelia from last year. I think it was last year that did this, and it came on shore, and it was quite the impactful storm. So that could be an analog for this system is Ophelia. I've seen a lot of people talking about that already. So this system could definitely be impactful if we get a scenario like the HAFS model, which shows a pretty mid-grade tropical storm coming towards our area or our neck of the woods here in the Carolinas. Now here is that HAFSB model, and this model shows generally the same thing, a pretty strong tropical storm coming on shore here tomorrow. So models are somewhat in agreement. Again, you got a couple of these hurricane models that aren't nearly as strong, but again, these hurricane models can't be taken seriously because there isn't a natural low level circulation. So with that, you want to take a grain of salt, but generally most models agree that this is going to come on shore, and it could be anywhere from a pretty mid-grade tropical storm to just a sloppy tropical depression. Regardless of what happens, heavy rainfall is a really good bet, particularly for those along the I-95 corridor. You guys certainly are going to see very heavy rainfall, but we'll have to see for areas further west towards the Triangle area and western Piedmont. So we'll have to see in those areas. But going back to our short-range models, however, like the HRRR model, and we're going to get a local view. So we're going to go through time, and rainfall starts generally right around that 12 o'clock area, 12 o'clock time frame, off the HRRR model, and it brings the rainfall in, and it generally rains the entire day tomorrow, and in parts of Tuesday as well. It rains. Now HRRR has been back and forth. I want to say that yesterday's run in the afternoon showed about 50 mile an hour gusts and some pretty hefty rainfall rates. The old 12Z model run from this morning is kind of cut back, but look at those stronger winds coming in our area tomorrow. According to the HRRR, you get winds of this magnitude, trees are coming down more than likely, and you're probably going to be dealing with power outages if you get a wind bag like this. And this system off the HRRR is quite weak, and it's still showing 50 to 40 mile an hour wind gusts. So this just goes to show you that with that high pressure to the north and then that low pressure to the south, you got like that squeeze play action. And what's going to happen is as you get both these pressures to combine like that, you're going to get stronger wind gusts. We've seen this with Ian, and we've seen this with Ophelia. We've seen this with other storms in the past where you had a high pressure to the north and low pressure to the south, and this allowed for some pretty damaging wind gusts, honestly. So, for the fact that it's still showing this as a possibility with a very, very weak, sloppy TD is honestly pretty kind of concerning here, because I don't think many people know about this. So, you get 46-mile-an-hour gusts like this model showing, and you're most certainly getting trees coming down with how saturated the ground is right now. So that'll be something to watch. But HRRR certainly shows very strong wind gusts all throughout the afternoon through the nighttime hours of tomorrow going into Tuesday morning. So that certainly shows a more impactful scenario in our area, in our neck of the woods. Now, here's an AM through KM model. And it seems like models are starting to agree that most of the rainfall will start close to that 12 o'clock time frame. And this will move through all throughout the morning of tomorrow. And it'll bring heavy rainfall to our region. And I gotta say, HRRR and the NAM through KM model are starting to bring that heavier rainfall threat further to the west towards Greensboro and Charlotte. So if that happens, you may have to increase rainfall totals further to the west. So now looking at the wind gust forecast off the NAM through KM model, and we're going with time, and wind gusts really starting to increase tomorrow afternoon. And the NAM through KM model just brings a huge area of about 60-plus-mile-an-hour wind gusts in our region. Guys, I don't know if this will happen like this, but I could certainly see 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts across the region tomorrow. I'll have a much more detailed forecast for you guys tomorrow. Today I'm just kind of giving you guys an overview of what we're looking at, but we could certainly be looking at a more impactful system than what people are thinking right now if this happens. We could be looking at some pretty widespread power outages with how saturated the ground is. And both models generally agree that we could see winds as high as 46 to 50 mile an hour tomorrow. So if that happens, we're looking at a much more impactful system tomorrow. So certainly something to look out for. And here I'll show you one more short range model before I get out of here. And this is another short range model, and it brings it on shore. It's a pretty strong tropical depression, weak tropical storm. Again, the classification really doesn't matter because we're going to see heavy rainfall and stronger winds regardless. But this could be a tropical depression, weak tropical storm. It brings it on shore, heavy rainfall. As far as wind gusts go, we're going through time. And this model, again, models are generally starting to agree that we could see anywhere between 40 to 50 mile an hour gusts tomorrow. I'm definitely going on the higher end guidance when it comes to these wind gusts, because with the high pressure to the north, low pressure to the south, we're certainly going to see some pretty strong winds over our area. I would go about that 40 to 45 range, but I certainly won't be surprised for somebody to see 50 mile an hour gusts tomorrow. So again, I'll be up early tomorrow, bring you guys a much more detailed forecast. This could easily reach tropical depression status, and if it does so, with the high pressure to the north and then a tropical depression to the south, we could certainly be looking at some really strong winds as we go through our day tomorrow, heavy rainfall as well. So overall, guys, we're looking at a pretty impactful situation here in the Carolinas tomorrow. So if you live in the Carolinas, be aware that we could be looking at a pretty strong storm tomorrow with stronger winds and some heavier rainfall. But that's all I got. I'll bring you a much more detailed video tomorrow.